This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Andrew Bell, the CEO of Red Rock Resources, is joining us today on Stockbox as they have signed a contract for drilling in Kenya. The recent news from the company. So, Andrew, you've signed a drilling contract. What does this mean? Does this mean you can get drilling soon over in Maguri?
Yes, we're just waiting for the EIA to be approved, and that takes a certain amount of time. We've been assured that it's going to be approved by the 5th of July, but as you know, if you're dealing with government departments, you can't hold them to their timetables. Things go wrong. In particular, you can't tell whether there'll be another lockdown, for example, which could hold things up. But as soon as we've got that EIA approved, we're going to be drilling. We have a drill company ready. They visited the site. They're ready to mobilize. And we hope that, therefore, within the first few days of July, we'll start drilling.
Okay, that's good. So the first few days in July. So the EIA, is that the Environmental Impact Assessment?
That's right.
Okay, and that's prepared, is it? You're just waiting for that to get signed off?
Yeah, we did everything that's been submitted, but there's a certain amount of time you have to give them to look at it, and then they come back. So then this was on the area that we're starting in, and that was an area we chose for various reasons. I think we got some good results there. We know that the mineralization continues at depth. If it's like these other things in the Tanzanian craton, quite often the mineralization improves at depth. Certainly, that's been the case in some nearby resources. I think North Mara, a few south, just over the border in Tanzania, which is parallel with this. So we're going to test for that. And this central area also has got a lot of holes close together. It's got some high grades, so we can do the high grades. We can extend along strike. We can fill in some gaps, and we can look at depth. And so we know that the drill holes we drill here, which are RC holes, maybe 2,000 meters plus, are going to come up with results, and they should be good results that improve our resource. Simultaneously, we're looking at the areas west and east to extend into them later phases of our exploration through drilling. And, other areas far to the west, we've worked with CSA and a number of geologists and been exhaustively hole by hole through all of our records. When we've got 4.3 terabytes of material on our exploration there. A little to the north at Mikei, we're doing geophysics teams, so we have that capability to do ground mag and the interpretation in-house. And we've done the first part of that, and then we're going to move off because we want to define what's quite a high-grade area a little better before we do the drilling there. And after doing that, we're going to move off to the eastern license, where we've got some very interesting targets. And geophysics is the thing that I think is lacking in order to improve our targeting there. So we've got two things in parallel, the drilling and then the preparatory work, which will set up some of the other areas around for drilling. But, if we were a big company, we'd probably have 5 different teams looking at 5 different areas, treating them as a project, as a potential.
Okay. So as part of this drilling program, you've got some drilling and then you've got some preparatory work for future drilling as well?
Yes.
Okay.
There is a 7 or 8 year gap in the drilling and exploration. So it's very exciting because we're coming in there. Of course, some of the things are easier than they would have been 7 or 8 years ago. There's more drilling capability available. There's some better technology available. And the gold price is quite a reasonable level. So I think we can accelerate everything now. And it's very exciting because the work we had done in the early 2010s had really been to collate, bring together and build on the old work that had been carried on over decades, to bring it together to get a resource, and to set, I would say, a solid basement, a foundation for future exploration, which is going to be designed to increase the resource and to increase the grade and increase the understanding of structure and all these things. And that work got delayed, and now we're able to start doing it. So I think we're going to be able to come up with some good results. We certainly expect to in counter gold mineralization, but we're trying to build a story. We're trying to build the resource, and we're trying to build grade. So the success of that, we'll have to see. But this is the first step, the first part of the program. And it is, I think, a very exciting development. And we've got a great team of geologists out there now, and local geologists. And also we have geologists in London, and we have CSA, who we've got advice from South Africa, who've analysed all the old information and the work they did on the resource, both then and in their recent update.
Now, I know on this Maguri project, it's in the Greenstone Belt, there's a lot of historical data and a lot of historical exploration on this project that you've been able to look at. You say the drill company is ready, so you must have plans ready to drill as soon as you get the EIA approved. How has the historical data helped you plan for this program?
Oh, well, there's been, I think, an unbelievable amount of discussion and debate around the recommendations of CSA, around the old drill hole results from earlier programs, looking at where the gaps were, what we could do that would be productive. And we really went through things hole by hole, studying in sort of 3 dimensions all the old holes, deciding with the help of some people who worked there in previous programs, what we were going to do next. And I'm very happy that we've got a good program, which is split into various parts, and this is the first part of it. I'm very happy that we've got a very good, technically valid program, which is designed to build on the work that's been done in the past, and will do so. And I think that our situation, both in relation to possible partnerships or other big companies being interested, will be quite different if we were a company that held the asset and really hadn't done anything, hadn't done a great deal to advance it for 7 or 8 years. Not our fault, because we couldn't. And if we're a company that's just doing current work, getting good results, we're going to be, in a few weeks, in the position of being a company that's doing current work, getting good results, building the story with enormous, colossal upside. And I think that will be transformative to Red Rock.
Okay, that's good to hear. I wonder, Andrew, if I can just get from you a thought on the current state of the markets at the moment. Things have seemed to have gone a bit quiet. It could be the usual summer lull, but just on your experience of cycles, where do you think we are in the current commodities mining exploration cycle?
Look, I think the growth rates in many countries around the world, and I think probably that growth will continue. I think that there's going to be an emphasis on infrastructure spending too, which can only be helpful. We've seen that in America, for example. Of course, inflation is something of a danger, but I would expect, and of course, for some minerals, the demand is going to increase because of electric vehicles. When it comes to gold, which is what we're looking at in Kenya, you just have to take a view that you cut through all the projections, the talk about price, about break even, and so on, and you say to yourself, one of the big influences on gold has always been central bank demand, whether gold is going to be held as part of the reserves, a small part of the reserves of a country, and at the margin, our countries more likely to be net buyers or net sellers of gold. And I would have thought that with inflation appearing, that I can't see any reason why, and all the difficulties that central banks and governments are going to face in both meeting people's expectations, taxing them enough, spending enough, winning elections, and not letting inflation reappear, it's going to be difficult. I would have thought that the overall trend would be in the direction of both public and private buyers buying a little bit more gold. And so I would expect the gold price to be higher. I think we've seen that it sort of wants to go higher. People are not so confident that governments are not going to debauch currencies once the velocity of circulation starts to build up again. I can see inflation being a real threat. Gold is a hedge against inflation. So you ask me very, very short term which way gold will go. And I would say that perhaps the reason why gold has come off a bit or hasn't made progress is because of people's expectations of slightly higher interest rates, and gold doesn't pay interest. So there's that very short-term phenomenon. But the underlying tide, is one that is going to carry gold to higher levels. So people should be patient and wait for the next up wave.
Okay. And what should companies like Red Rock, explorers in this space, what should they be doing during these times?
I think we just carry on doing what we do always. And we may think that the dollar on balance is not going to be particularly strong currency. We could be wrong about that. We may think that the gold price is going to go up quite a bit. We may be wrong about that. But what we can feel reasonably confident about is that the conditions are going to be stable enough that we don't, for example, see gold go back down to $300. We can look at increasing gold demands in the natural course of things as economies grow. And we can see probable gold price stability at worst, and that means that you've got a good environment in which to make long-term plans. You can invest reasonably confidently in exploration and building the value of your resource. So I think we just carry on doing what we're good at. And remember that the assets we have in general at Red Rock, we hold for a very long time. In general, if we are in something we think is a good situation, a good resource, we stay with it, and we gradually work to increase its value. And of course, at times that may seem painfully slow, but then when the conditions are right, you can actually move. You can see very quick, very rapid moves. Everything comes right. We have, as a company, tended to outperform in bull markets. And there have been some times when we were doing transactions as well, like in 2008, 2010, where we got enormous multiplications in our price. Are we at a similar point now with the exploration we're doing in two countries and with the way we think we can advance our assets in both those countries, and with the expectation that we can list off some assets in various places, Australia, it's perfectly possible that we are at the beginning of a revaluation of Red Rock, and it's our task to make sure that happens.
Okay, Andrew Bell, the CEO of Red Rock Resources, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.